Okay, so before I get this video started, let's just be clear that I'm going to continue to be pushing all these little buttons about the Gen Z millennials and all this little conundrum going toward Gen X and the boomers. We understand that we are God's children. We have to progress into everything that goes into the future, which means we as Gen X, we're allowed to use the stuff that's going on today that you guys put together. We're allowed to use the Wikipedia and cell phones and Google and all that stuff. Regardless that Google, we are older than Google. But here's the thing, Gen Z, I've done 3 parts. And honestly, I don't need to do this one, but I thought about it. You guys are just basically gonna run everybody into a mental breakdown. Most of you are going to turn people into Karens. You people are going to go against law enforcement. You people are going to go against thinking that you are entitled to everything, and you think the world and the law is not above you. And most of all, God forsake, this is a funny one. You're going to rig game shows. There's people that go on The Price is Right that don't even want to play for a trip to Hawaii. They just want that 10 grand and get the heck out of Dodge. The world is a sad place. Gen Z and millennials, it's like, I'm sorry, Bob Barker's gone. You can't mess with Drew. You cannot ruin any more things than you have already. Gen Z, Gen X, and boomers, we have grew up with the greatest era of television ever. Then you people took over and had the reality era. And trust me, you can't beat the game shows. You can't beat the actual live shows and the TV shows, but especially you just can't beat game shows the way they used to be. Trust me, there's going to be a day I might even have somebody on for our podcast about the game show world, but you people keep ruining it for everybody. Roll the intro. Let's have a little something, if you will. Hit it. And as always, as I continue to try to push and find stuff here and there, on and off, to try to put out to this young, small, and crazy comedic-filled channel of mine, as I have rebooted my little whatever you call it. It is always great to have you with us. Do enjoy all this content that we put together. Please, there is a big old thing down there. It's called a subscribe button if you want to hear and see and be alerted of more stuff. And also, if you want to be, if you actually do in fact like a lot of this comedic content, whether it is anything between the Gen Z millennials in front of the hockey content, the sports content, the life content, please do chuck a like. We do appreciate you, and continue that support right here on this channel. But in essence, I don't want to make this a totally farce type of an episode, because the Gen Z millennials, again, they are going to run this business and this world as we live in. And here are us Gen X boomers in the golden era. Do you even care? Have you seen what you've done? Have you really? I mean, I can't. As I get older, it really gets tougher to adjust to anything on TV, because politics are running the world. Politics, Karens, law enforcement, BS. I'm tired. I don't want to talk about that stuff on this channel. It's the last thing I want to do. I want to keep a positive mental attitude when I go into this channel and do certain stuff and talk about little knick-knack stuff. But when you people are going to be taking care of the world for the next 150 years, God only knows how long this planet's going to be alive, we can't even sit down at 11 o'clock or whatever on our whatever time zone and sit and watch The Price is Right anymore, because for us, there's many things. We're saddened. We've lost Bob Barker last year at 99. So the world has just evolved with game shows and all this crap and everything. We had the golden era, and then now look at it. It's sad. It's a sad world knowing that, we busted our butt to try to win $10,000 on the grand game on The Price is Right. Now a Gen Z kid will go on stage and act like it's nothing. It's a sad world. It's a sad world. You don't even want to play for a trip to Tahiti. You'd rather want that $50,000. You'd rather play Plinko than try to win a trip to Tahiti. You would rather, sure, everybody wants to win a car, but you're not, you would rather have that 50 grand. You would rather tweak the system and try to win $100,000 on pay the rent than I don't know, trip to Hawaii, even small prizes, Drew's done that show for 15 years now. 15, 16 years. I can't believe I have evolved, and I'm going to hitting on 49 years old, and I just think to the back of my head, Drew's had that show for 15, 16 years now. What the heck? He took over in 2007. And I'm here to tell you right now, the world is just, as I've said many times on this show, the world is crazy. Drew Carey's been on that show for 15, 16 years now. I mean, it's still The Price is Right. It's still the same show. It's just with Drew. Drew has evolved from that big comedian, stand-up comedian, to being on his own stand-up, his own show on ABC, and he has evolved himself into probably the best game show host in America. It's Pat Sajak is retiring, and God forbid Ryan Seacrest has taken over Wheel of Fortune. Can't that guy stay away from TV for real? And it's topsy-turvy about who wants to host Jeopardy, because Ken Jennings is going to have it. That is all we have today as of this moment. Those are the game shows we have. It's Price is Right, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, and if you count Let's Make a Deal, because Wayne Brady's took that show over. God rest Monty Hall, because you cannot beat the old episodes, but Wayne sure as heck has made that into a premium, awesome show. It's a little different than it was back in the day, but everything obviously is different from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. You people in the Gen Z and Millennials have no idea what we used to watch. That is all you got. You can go on Game Show Network, GSN, and they have all these new state-of-the-art game shows, America Says, and Mind and Masterminds, and all these other nook and cranny stuff that they have. Catch 20. Why does Alfonso Ribeiro have a job? No, I'm just kidding. He's funny as heck. But it's just there's way too much. We ran television. You understand that? We ran television. 60s, 70s, 80s, even half part of the 90s, maybe a little bit of 2000s when you started opening your own minds up and thinking, hey, let's do Survivor. Survivor, not a fan. Hate on me, I don't care. Amazing Race is okay, but I never got into those binge type of shows. I never did. Do you consider American Idol a game show? It lasts 3, 4 months, something like that. Do you call that a game show? Kind of, but it's a talent. It's a talent contest. Now there's 9,000 talent contests. Once American Idol hit, now The Voice is around. Now America's Got Talent, and now every country's got their own. Dude, I'm going to throw you a list, and once I get my new laptop, which has been ordered, I wish I would be able to put down in all this little order about the great game shows we used to have. And trust me, they were worth money. Back in the day, a bonus round was bank. Back in the day, $5,000 was bank. Then it became 10. Then it became like 25,000. 25,000 lasted you almost 3-4, lasted you a long time. And the evolution kept going because some of the greats were there. Wink Martindale, Jack Barry, Bill Cullen, Bob Eubanks, Jim Perry, God rest his soul. A lot of these guys are going. A lot of these great men who were game show hosts. They're gone, obviously, because age and all that stuff like that. But they were the best at what they did. Bob Eubanks is still alive, I believe. Jim Perry did 2 of the best game shows ever, Sale of the Century and Card Sharks. But Jim Lang did some of the best, and Jim Lang was, I believe, the first one to ever have a game show for $1 million, and it was his chance of a lifetime. I watched that show. That was banging. That was actually really, really cool. And then you got all these little syndicated shows, Tic-Tac-Toe, Joker's Wild, Bullseye. We had a grand time with those and bonus rounds and all that stuff. We busted our butts to get to where we are for game shows. We're talking Password, Super Password, Password Plus with, I remember they were on NBC. The Press Your Luck will always be one of my favorite game shows ever. When they redid it on the Game Show Network, it was, I'm sorry, I wish I had a big word, trash. The new one with Elizabeth Banks is awesome. But the one that was redid on GSM, yeah, trash. And I'm not afraid to say it. I told you Joker's Wild was one of the best ones. They redid it in the 90s and it was okay. But when Snoop Dogg redid it, it was funny. It didn't last. I think it lasted 2 seasons, but it wasn't bad. And then you got Bullseye. Go look up High Rollers. Is one of my best game shows I've ever seen, and the late Alex Trebek did it in the late 70s, early 80s, and then Wink Martindale redid it in the 90s. One of my favorite ones out there. You can never ever get rid of Match Game and the Hollywood Squares ever. Gene Rayburn and Peter Marshall, and then they redid it many years ago in a Match Game Hollywood Squares hour on NBC. It was a 1-hour show where they put both game shows in one show, and it was meta. It was at the time awesome. As I said before, Card Sharks will always be one of my favorites. Sale of the Century will always be one of my favorites. Jim Perry was a fantastic game show host. And Card Sharks, I will enjoy that game show forever and ever. That will never be the same. They tried to redo it, I think, a couple years ago on ABC. It was all right. One of the same. Stage was nice. But nothing beats the big, gigantic cards. And I still, to this day, hope and pray someday down the road, I want that deck of cards. Where do I find that deck of cards? Do I really seriously have to Google something to find that? Oh God, that's a GenZ Millennial thing. I'm gonna have to ask one of those people to find it. God. Anyway, we had all this stuff out there. There was stuff back in the 70s and 80s. Blockbusters was a nice one with Bill Cullen. Hot Potato was a good one with some celebrities on it. The Pyramid shows, they were big back in the day. Then in the 80s, early 90s, when the $25,000 and the $100,000 pyramid, those were huge. Not just because Dick Clark was still doing them. I mean, you were going for $100,000. It was Pyramid will always be one of the best shows. And I remember, did anybody actually watch the one Donny Osmond hosted? Did anybody? Anybody? I mean, Michael Strahan's doing the one now, and it's okay, and it's actually not too bad. But yeah, did you ever hear of a show called Dream House? Bob Eubanks did that show on NBC. It was couples play a game, have a chance to win a house. That show was a big deal back in the day. It was actually really, really a fun time. But you're never going to be half of the other stuff. Even back in the 60s when Password and What's My Line and all that stuff, Truth or Consequences, and they try to do all these different types of scenarios. We had the golden era. We had it. What do you have now? We left you with 4. Deal with it and do what you like with it. You're just going to mess Drew Carey up. You're going to go on Wheel of Fortune and think you can still beat the system. Jeopardy, and Jeopardy, you'll never figure out Jeopardy because only geniuses are on that show. Well, it depends. And, yeah, let's make a deal. Anybody could be on that show, but that's a fun show. We ran television. What do you guys, do you remember something that you had that was better than what Gen Z millennials have now? We ran television. I don't think it's anything close. There's really nothing out there. Not even GSN can have anything specifically close to what we were able to put together. And I look at that list that I made. I just blurted all this out, and I know I'm missing a handful of them. But guys, you remember a great game show? Put it in the comments. You remember a bonus round? Put it in the comments. I remember some of the best. The Dragon, the Lightning, the Big Numbers game, the Devil at Joker's Wild. There's nothing like the age that we had. Throw something up there, because trust me, this is when we, as Gen X boomers and the golden era, we ran this, you know what. I wanted to throw this little thing out there because I think this was a good little topic, and I might do another one later about this. It's not really a part 4. I just thought I'd like to throw a little bit of another right jab at the Gen Z millennials. But not that we don't hate you. We think you're okay, but trust me, you didn't have it like we had. Hit that like and subscribe if you like a lot of this content, because we're getting ready for snow, and I don't know if this light is really messing me up in here, because I'm gonna wrap this baby up. And until then, I thank you. I appreciate you for hanging out on a nice little episode on this. And until then, I will close the bar. And the bar, yes, it is closed. And I will see you Bloody Legends in the next one. And let's see if I can do this. I like that. Bar is closed. I'm gonna get a sign eventually down the road. Catch you guys on the flip side. I appreciate you.